Okay, so this is probably now about 4 pounds of clay, but you know, you can make a donut out of any amount of clay.
Do you prefer the plastic things?
I don't. I don't really, well, actually I'm more familiar with the plastic bat than I am than plaster. So it's a preference born of my own. Yeah. People love the plaster because it does release the bottom and dry it more evenly, and there's reasons, strong reasons why. But I've had, not this type of plastic bat, but another commercial, like the black ones. I've had those since I was, since 1984 in my own studio, and they just never warped, they never changed. I mean, those are just what I use, and I love them. I love using things for 40 years and not having to get a new one. Yeah, that just suits my personality. It's like so foreign to most of anything in life, right? Yeah. So, same deal, got to center the clay.
Centered.
Oops. This clay is a little stiffer. So once your clay is centered, I want to work from a flatter mound. Okay, I'm going to get the mounds located a little bit lower and wider. It's almost like a little bit like a plate in that I'm going to start to depress in here. But this time, what I'm going to do is go all the way to the bat. So there's no material here, or very little. So I'm sort of thinking now about the scale of my dough. I have a lot of material here to work with, so I'm just expanding this out. So this is where my hollowness is going to be in this ring. So I'm going to go in, you know, I'm more comfortable with my thumb here, and I kind of find the center and get stability like this, so I can have the confidence of going down. Okay, so this will have a different kind of floor. It wants to be round all the way around, right? I don't want flatness here. So the inside has to be round, like a bowl. So I'm gonna sort of work this. It's gonna be like a curve encased in something flat that can be trimmed out later. Okay, so now I have the two amounts that I'm going to work with to bring up the wall. So I usually, I mean, it doesn't matter which one, but I'll just start here. Can I bring a sponge over here? Do you see one? I guess I didn't. Oh, she's bringing me one. Thank you, sorry. Thank you so much. So I'm not really using this sponge and my fingers touching clay. So now I'm going to go in, I'm going to pinch, which is going in against centrifugal force to depress into this thicker wall. Once I establish that material like pinching into it, I'm going to hold it with tension in my hand, and then I'm going to pull it up. So it's almost like centrifugal force and then gravity. Okay, two separate things. So I'm going to go in. Here's the pinch. And as I'm pulling it up, I'm thinking about starting to have this come this way. So I'm kind of shaping it as well. the same. Here's the pinch. Here's the pull. Now, I want this thickness to be this thickness, as much as I can, right? I'm building a form, and ideally we want there to be one uniform wall thickness all the way through. So when I'm wheel throwing, I'm very concerned with the inside shape of the hollow form, because the outside always gets trimmed to match the inside. So I want to make sure, I'm not so focused on the profile of what's happening on the outside as much as I am on the shapes on the inside. All right, so now I'm going to, I don't want to over thin this. I think this is an okay thickness. I'm going to start to move these, I'm going to go in and move a little bit more material. I'm thinning it and shaping it. And I'm moving this inside wall out. And now I'm going to go in and move the outside wall in. Now I'm going to do some points where I'm really externally lifting. It's like I'm going in, I'm not going to really have anything inside, but I'm going to push, it's like collaring the clay. I'm going to push in and then move the clay inward toward these two walls in toward each other with outside pressure from maybe some smaller surface area of my finger to move the clay. So obviously once I get those two rims married together, I have air trapped inside, which is nice because now I can work externally to make some changes against that trapped air without collapsing this donut. So it might look like this. Metal scraper. Helping me compress and clean it up, change the shape a little bit. With any closed form like this, oops, I always do that with a metal rib. Screw that up a little bit, it's okay. You know, if I really wanted to change the shape, there's a whole technique where I can release some air with a pinhole and then really change the shape by the air having a place to escape and then plugging the hole again. You know, it's a little tricky to do that, but I don't really feel like I need to do that. It's not really. Okay, so let's say I've worked it like that with the idea of compressing that. So what I might do now is remove a little bit of that wedge of material in the base following the line of the curve. I'm taking this angled wood tool and I'm just kind of separating a band of extra material that I don't need there away that I can then take my needle tool and cut through the band and then underscore it. Then I can just take that away. That'll just save a little bit of the trimming process when I trim this to make it really round on the bottom, if that's what I need. So then, before I put this to bed for the day, I would put a pinhole just so it doesn't shrink around the trapped air, and it has a, you know, sometimes stress cracks could emerge if you don't release the air like that. So donuts are great because, you know, this could be deep, you know, I could open this up like, it could become almost like a flower brick. That makes sense? Like I could make a screen of carved, open negative spaces that would hold individual stems of flowers. This could be, this hollow form could be extrapolated upon. I could lay a slab in here or throw something in here like it has a container in the inside and then it's open like a screen into the hollowness on the edge, like a thick. There's so many ways to use these donuts. This could be turned this way. It could have a spout and a handle and have, you know, this contains the tea or the coffee or whatever. You know, you can really play around with what these are and the vocabulary of other hollow forms. Okay, so then, of course, the last thing I'm going to do is release it from the vat before I take it off. That's that.
When you trim it, you will flip it over and trim it.
Recenter it.
Like you would a pie.
Little lug it down with some, yes.
And then and you'll round it off.
Yeah, I'll have the outside match the inside with it. I would make sure it was round on the bottom. Yeah. So the other thing I want to do, I'm just going to put this on so the screws don't hurt my hands.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
You're welcome.